Hi, I'm Miranda with Righteous Reviews, and today I'm here with.
Davis Thomason from TIDES.
Okay, so how did Tides form? Were both of you making music before creating the band?
That's a really interesting question. So, I had minimal musical experience before meeting Nathan, and I would say he was in the same boat. We were both very interested in the process of recording and releasing songs, but what we had done ourselves up until that point was more of just a hobby. Like Nathan had played guitar growing up, and I had done a little bit of singing, and it's kind of funny. I had done a few drum lessons. That's like the extent of my musical knowledge. But we really kind of fully dove into music when we both met in college in freshman year. We bonded over our shared love for a band called the Brook and the Bluff. We met at a Brook and the Bluff concert, and I had heard that Nathan really enjoyed playing guitar, and I'd fooled around with some recording equipment before meeting him. So that's kind of how I had a little bit of a background there. And then we just got together and started recording for fun until we got a little bit more serious with it. And we decided, hey, let's release this music for people to hear. We have some songs that we really believe in. So we did that a little over a year ago. And what you see is what you get now. This is where we are. And it's a great, great journey that we've really enjoyed being on. So,
I think that's so interesting how, like, without meeting each other, it probably would have never happened.
no, not at all. It was crazy. Like, shout out Brick in the Bluff, too, for putting on an awesome show that we went to and that we met each other at. So, yeah, really cool.
So, where does the name Tides stem from?
This is a crazy story, actually. So, Nathan and I, um, we were going to go by a different name. We were going to create music under the alias Dale, Dael, and we actually did make some songs with that band name. And then we decided, hey, like this is not a very marketable name. We have to interpret it for people every time they see the name. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So when we got like really serious about making music, we were like, we got to switch up the name. We got to release this song, Woke Me Up, under a new band name. What do we call ourselves? And I thought Tides sounded cool. I had just come off this Bible reading plan. I was going through Psalms, and Psalm 89:9 says, this is where the story gets really cool. Psalm 89:9 says, you rule the raging of the sea. When its waves rise, you still them. So my mind immediately went to Tides. I was like, okay, I'm like thinking of band names at this moment. And I ended up bringing the idea of the name Tides to Nathan without telling him where I found it in scripture. It just didn't come up. I didn't tell him about that verse that I read. And he was like, dude, I love that name. Tides sounds really cool. Let's go with it. So I was like, okay, great. That's like Nathan for you. He's usually down for anything. He's like, dude, that sounds awesome. Tides sounds cool. So Nathan has a lot of tattoos on his arm. And a week later, he has the verse Psalm 89:9 tattooed on his arm. And I was like, bro, I was like, did I tell you about that verse that I came across? Did I tell you that's the reason why I brought the name Tides to you? He was like, no, bro. I just like thought that was a really awesome verse when I was like flipping through the word on my quiet times. I was like, bro, that's actually crazy. Like he saw that verse, identified that as well. And yeah, that scripture just kind of like really united us, and he was on the same page without us even referencing that Bible verse. So that's where Tides comes from, and we're sticking to it. So
I love that.
yeah.
So, is your musical sound a mix of each of your own personal music tastes, and what musicians are you inspired by?
Wow, I would say it definitely is a blend. I'm like way more pop oriented than Nathan is, and Nathan's way more rock oriented. And I think those interests really do blend in our music. And, we have some songs that are way more pop than others, and we have some songs that are way heavier, way more rock than others as well. And then we have a couple that are a really unique blend. I think our latest release, Alive, is a really good blend of those two interests. I mean, I grew up, as funny as it is, I love Justin Bieber, love boy band, like One Direction vibes. Like, oh my gosh, I'm just such a sucker for like catchy songs. And that's just who I am down to my core. But I also start to reach into Nathan's interests because I love bands like Colony House, bands like Switchfoot. And Nathan grew up listening to a lot of 80s rock. Like, he was not into like the modern pop sound at all. He didn't grow up listening to like radio or anything like that. He just like loved what his parents were into. And his parents listened to a lot of classic rock as well. And like that's where his guitar influence comes from. And then my vocal and my songwriting ability, I pull so much from pop. And I like reference artists a lot, like John Bellion as well, a big uh, production influence of mine because I'll produce all of our songs as well. And I think that's where our interests kind of collide.
So as a two-person group, what does your music making process look like? Do you each have different roles or is it collaboration?
Wow. Okay. I used to say, oh, the process looks different every time. But we've made enough songs now to where we really are kind of hitting a groove of like what we do. And it typically goes like this. Nathan will come up with a cool chord progression. He'll have a few on him at all times, and he'll play a chord progression on the guitar. And basically, I'll sit here and he'll sit beside me, and I'll kind of pick one that I like a lot, one that really evokes a unique melody out of me. So he'll be playing the guitar, and I might be singing something like "Helping myself was my sole fixation," like just kind of like bringing a melody to mind. And whatever we get furthest in, like whatever idea or chord progression that we get furthest into, as we're just kind of like sitting here playing around, we'll say, okay, let's go ahead and like pull out the equipment and start recording some guitar tracks. And that's typically how the idea always starts. From that point on, I'm really quick with coming up with a chorus or with an idea. So I'll usually take the lyrics from there. That's typically how all the songs get fleshed out. And then while I'm like writing over these chords, Nathan is usually like noodling around, coming up with like a solo that he can like rip over the bridge on the guitar. And a lot of times, like our instrumentals for the songs are done in a day or two. And then it's a little bit longer of a process for me to like go in there, record vocals, and mix the song to make it sound radio ready, so to speak. Not that our songs sound radio ready, but to a level that we like it and we feel comfortable to releasing it. Takes a little bit longer to do that. But that's kind of how our roles work and how they, I guess, do collaborate with one another.
So you've posted hints that you have a lot of new music on the way. Is
Yeah,
there an album in the works and what can listeners look forward to?
this is crazy. You said an album, and I've been thinking and dreaming about an album for a while. I can't say that we have an album coming, but what I can say is that we do have an EP coming. And basically, for people who don't know, an EP is basically just a miniature album. So we've released two singles, or I guess we've released one single, and the song that we're releasing on Friday is the second. That's titled Limit. And those two songs will be on our second ever EP. This EP comes out in June. I think June 13th is the tentative date right now. And that EP is titled Jesus Take It All, a bit of a sequel to our first EP called Jesus for the World. And this EP will have two new songs on it. It's kind of the same formula that we took with our last EP. We released two singles and then paired them with two new songs when it dropped. And now we have two singles, Alive and Limit, and we're going to pair those with two new songs when the EP releases in June. So yeah, we have new music coming out, and something that nobody knows right now actually is that we'll end the summer, we'll round it out with a final single. And we're really hopeful. We think we're going to collaborate with somebody on that song, and that person has to remain anonymous right now, but we're really excited for that release. And then I mean, like as far as an album goes, one of my goals for the summer is to start shipping away and writing some music that I would like to see on our album one day. And maybe we're talking early 2026 for an album. So that's my goal at least. I really appreciate that question. I get excited about releasing music. So,
Yeah. So you've only been making music under Tides for around a year. How has the Lord blessed you through this early journey as a band?
wow, yeah, it's been really incredible to see people's reception towards the music and how people have gravitated towards it. People who we don't know. Like I feel like that's very rare at our stage in the music making process, especially for a band that hasn't gone viral, who hasn't had like a big moment where we blew up. Like to have people still be listening and still be interested in the music that we don't even know is such a blessing. And the fact that people are listening that we don't even know just proves that hey, like the Lord is playing a part and putting this music in strangers' ears. I mean, we don't have that big of a presence on social media at all. I mean, to be honest, like we don't really know how it's happening. But we've been very fortunate enough to be placed on some big playlists on Spotify. Like the people at Spotify have helped us out so much. I mean, we don't even know who these people are. When you release music, you just kind of throw it into the void, so to speak, and hope for the best. And obviously, just pray that the Lord uses the songs as a tool for Him and a tool to point others to the kingdom of God. But I mean, other than that, like we have really just made music and dropped what we make. Like we'll make a song and we won't like store them up. We'll just make it and then drop it like it's hot, and then make the next one, drop it like it's hot, and hope for the best. And it's been incredible to see the progression over the last 13 months now. That's all I can really say. It's quite surreal. So
So with summer on the horizon, do you have any fun plans, whether that be music related or just in general?
with summer on the horizon, is that what you
Yeah.
said? Yeah. Okay. I look. I love a good summer vacation, and I love going out, kicking it at the beach, going out with friends. But like, I feel like it's kind of a lame summer vacation for me. I only have one trip planned, but it is a cool trip. I'm going with a couple friends to kind of take a break from the music, take a break from the grind to Canada for like 4 or 5 days. And we're gonna hike there. We're gonna just spend some time in nature, spend some time with the Lord. I mean, I'm going with friends who I really love, and just excited to get out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. That's where I live, and that's where I go to school. I just graduated actually, so I'm also in the process this summer of finding a job that I can work around town while Nathan is in his last year of school. So it is a busy summer, but I am able to escape to Canada, which is so cool for a few days. But yeah, it's going to be a packed summer, but we're going to make it fun nonetheless. So,
Yeah, congratulations on your
oh my
graduation.
gosh, thank you so much. Praise God. Like genuinely. It was a long 4 years, but we made it. And so
What did you major in? Like, what do you think you're going to start doing?
I majored in communication studies. I minored in religious studies. And the reason why I picked communication studies is because when I was a freshman, and I mean, I had just met Nathan at this point, and we're kind of like having fun making music. Like, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And communications is a really great major because it's so broad, and the jobs that you can have with a major like that are really extensive. Like there's no real cap to like what you can and can't do unless you want to do something especially specialized like being a doctor or something. It's like you can't become that with a communications degree. You need to go to medical school and stuff, and I knew I didn't want to be a doctor or some. I didn't really have a super solidified idea. So right now, I mean, I'm applying to a lot of places around town. I think I might do something in web design, which is really cool. Like I don't have a ton of experience in web design and coding itself, but I could be on like the sales portion of that. And I mean, as you can tell, I love talking. I just I can talk to people all day. So any job where there's a social element, I mean, I would love to be placed there. I mean, there's so much kingdom impact you can have in the workplace as well. Like a 9 to 5 job is incredible. And if I could do that for a little bit of my day and then leave work and go and do music for the rest, I mean, what an awesome life that would be. So prayers that I'm able to kind of develop a really good schedule for the next year while Nathan is still in school and while we're still working on music. So
Yeah, I love that. I'm a
yeah,
journalism major, so I kind of get like the
awesome.
similarities.
That's so incredible. Yeah.
So my last question for you is if you had to choose any song, whether it's in your discography or stuff you're going to release in the future, which song would be the song of the summer?
Whoa. Oh man. Okay. If I had to choose a song that we already have out to be the song of the summer, I think of like a really pop, really fast song, like like something fun, like you're out of the pool or out on the beach listening to it, and like, dude, our biggest song woke me up. It's just like song of the summer energy. Like if anybody that's watching this review right now hasn't heard "Woke Me Up," let it be your song of the summer, man. It's a good jam. You'll really enjoy what you hear. But for a song we have yet to release, that last song that we're releasing this summer to round it out, the single that comes after the EP, it's a shame because it's coming towards the end of the summer, but I think it has song of the summer energy. And that's just me maybe being really excited about it right now and the little elements that we already have stitched together. But I don't know. It could be song of the summer. We'll see.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for meeting with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having us on, Miranda. I say us. I'm acting like Nathan's here, but thank you for having me on. Tides is honored.
Yeah, well, have a great day.
Yeah, thank you so much, Miranda. Appreciate it.